Hello again, my friends. This is Wake Angel 2001, and we have the Sonic 2 release of Knuckles the Echidna, movie version. So, the sculpting is identical to the Wave 1 figure, but he has some lightning effects and a brand new accessory back there. At Toys R Us, I was able to get him for a discounted price, so instead of the regular 10, I only spent 8. And, we have all the figures. So that means that Tails is the only figure that I don't have from this wave. They did not have a Tails figure at the Toys R Us. They had this last Knuckles and 2 Supersonics, and I already have Supersonic. So let's get him out of the packaging, which I'm going to do off camera because it's a little bit bigger than Tails is, and take a look at and see if there's anything significantly different with this particular Knuckles. And so here is Knuckles next to himself. The sculpt seems to be pretty much identical. Maybe his head's a little bit flatter. I think like the Wave 1 Knuckles has something of a pointier head. Kind of. It might just be the way that the head is sitting on the joint. It could be just margin of error stuff. I don't really know. But yeah, like the sculpt pretty much seems to be absolutely identical. No new sculpting has been done whatsoever. He didn't even get closed fist this time. He still has the open hands to grip the accessories he doesn't come with. And I don't think I like the lightning effect done on this one, even as much as I liked it on Sonic, which wasn't all that much. Like, you see how it's on one side of his head, but not the other? Like, I double checked, the movie Sonic figure with this lightning effect does have it on both sides of his head, so, there's an appeal to symmetry there, but the symmetry here is lost because it's only done on one side of his head. It's kind of upsetting. Other than that, everything is still the same. His head would turn, except that, the dreadlocks can hit his shoulders and make that difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. There is shoulder articulation, universal joints in the shoulders, the elbow bends, it swivels, the wrist swivels, and then his legs, same story. You got the hip, you got the knee, you have the swivel, you have the ball jointed ankle, and you have the same problem that the movie figures all seem to have in that their plastic feels softer. It feels like it's a little too soft when you compare it to like the proper figures, the proper game figures. And it makes them feel mushy when you're posing them, and because the plastic's softer, they can get overridden by their own weight and fall over. It's a particularly big problem with Supersonic, less of a problem for Knuckles because he's less back heavy, but it still happens. Also, mine has some paint marring on the foot, which is upsetting. I mean, it's just the right color that you might be able to write it off as a scuff or battle damage, but it's upsetting. I didn't notice that in the store. I probably wouldn't have bought it if it was for that. But let's get into the reason why I bought this figure again. The Warp Ring. It's significantly smaller than the rings I use on my wedding cake toppers, just in case you're wondering. Although I wonder if someone the next person who gets a wedding cake topper from me would specifically ask for one of these, just for that little bit of authenticity to be added. Who knows? It does appear to be permanently attached to this base. It cannot be removed from it. At least, it looks like it is 2 pieces, but it looks like, you see, like, there's a clip there. You see? It's clipped into place, and this does not feel like the kind of flexible plastic that has enough give. I feel like if I tried to separate it, I would very likely break that clip. And then on top of that, like, all you'd have is a ring with a big tab sticking out of the bottom. But hey, it's the Warp Ring, and it's big enough for the characters to pass through. I mean, maybe they can't step through it like they can in the movies, but they can go right through it. So, yep, there is that. This would be a pretty good display piece. Put it up behind your figures. You got yourself a giant Warp Ring, as seen in like the original Sonic game, or the Archie comic books, or Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. Like big rings that you jump into to go into special stages, or like in the comic books and the movies, just to wormhole yourself around. So yeah, it's a good ring. It's not. It's plastic, but it's not just a dull yellow. It actually does have like a metallic sheen to it, so I appreciate that. I wish that the accessory rings that the action figures came with were made in this color instead of just that pastel yellow that they make them in. So yeah, that is my review of Knuckles' Warp Ring. Thank you all for watching this video, and stay tuned for the next part. Wake Angel 2001 signing off.